I'm Nate Eaton with EastIdahoNews.com. We have some breaking news to bring you right now. The body of Dylan Rounds has been found. Dylan Rounds, his remains have been found in the remote area of Lucin, Utah. Dylan is the young 19-year-old who vanished over Memorial Day weekend back in 2022. He was a farmer. He moved to the desert town of Lucin, Utah, which is in northern Utah, kind of near the Nevada border, when he vanished. And his family tells me that this morning his remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family. Of course, Rounds had been missing since May of 2022. The 19-year-old spoke with his mother on the phone right before he vanished, and his family has spent the past 2 years searching for answers. His mother, Candice Cooley, tells me that as part of a plea agreement with James Brenner, the man accused of killing Dylan, Brenner led the investigators out to the site where the remains were on Tuesday morning, which would be today, April 9th, in case you're just tuning in, or you're watching on another day. They got there, they found those remains, and they have been recovered. Now, Brenner is charged with aggravated murder and abuse or desecration of a human body in connection to Rounds' death. Let me show you just how remote this area is. That's where Dylan was farming. That was his camper. That was his truck. And you can see there's not much around this area. It really was a desolate area. James Brenner, this is the man who is facing those charges. He again must have said something to investigators or cooperated or something. We don't have all of the details at this point, but they do have the remains because of where James Brenner led them. This is a spot where James Brenner had his camper. He lived near Dylan Rounds out there. Both of them were in separate campers. And when Dylan's family went out to begin looking for him in late May of 2022, they found his boots right there behind that mound of dirt, which was some distance off. And there was also a shed right by James Brenner's camper. This is what that shed looked like. And within a few days of Dylan disappearing, James Brenner cleaned that shed to the point of how it looks now. You know, it doesn't look very clean maybe to some of us, but he did remove bags out of that shed according to Dylan's family, and he did take those to an undisclosed location. And so all of this would likely have come into play if there was a trial. It still could as far as evidence. But as I mentioned, according to Dylan's family, as part of some sort of plea deal, Brenner took the authorities to the area where Dylan's body was, and they were able to find it. I spoke with Dylan's family. They, of course, are a lot of emotions tonight. This has been such a mystery for 2 years now. But Candice did ask me to convey, we thank everyone for their support and love. We are grateful we now have Dylan's body and can bring him home as we continue our fight for justice. And unclear when Mr. Brenner will appear in court again. There was a hearing scheduled for this month, but at last check that was delayed. However, now with the recovery of Dylan's body, it could be had sooner rather than later. I want to show you on a map just where this place is because it's desolate. And when I say this place, I don't mean where Dylan's remains were actually found, other than it was in the Lucin area, but that's a very large area. But this is where Lucin is. If you pull out here, you can see the Nevada-Utah border right here on the left of your screen. And then over here is Montello, Nevada. Dylan went back and forth between Montello and Lucin quite a bit. This was another, if you want to say big town, it's not real big, but the closest, nearest town to where Lucin is. So he went back and forth between these two places. And in the early stages of the investigation, there was a lot of focus on Montello, and then it seemed to shift into Lucin. I don't even know if there's a population count for Lucin, but they do have an airport, as you can see. If we zoom out quite a bit more, this will give you a reference as far as where this is located. So over here is Tremont in Utah, Brigham City, Malad is here, Lava Hot Springs, Blackfoot, Shelley. So it's right over here. And it's quite a distance if you were to fly from Idaho Falls, or excuse me, if you were to drive from Idaho Falls down to Lucin. But this is where his body was found, and this is where family are breathing a sigh of relief now that his remains have been found. So there still are a lot of questions. There still are some court stuff to obviously get worked out, to get solved, to get taken care of. This has been a case we've covered extensively on East Idaho News since Dylan vanished. In fact, here was a picture just at CrimeCon last year. They put up a "Have You Seen Me" poster with all of these nice messages around them. Keep fighting. Love how his parents represent him. We will find you, Dylan. Hold on to hope. And then there's these wonderful photos that his mother has shared with us and on publicly on social media. There's little Dylan as a young boy feeding pigs. There he is on a tractor. He loved farming, was big into farming, big into the outdoors, fishing. There he is. I don't know if he's taking care of a sheep there. Looks like he might be. And here he is on a tractor, which, again, he loved to farm. And that's what took him out to that location so that he could begin farming. He was raised in eastern Idaho. His father is still in eastern Idaho, Justin Rounds. And tonight, again, they have the answer they've been waiting for. They have recovered Dylan Rounds' body. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest developments. We have reached out to the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office to see if they have any comment. What usually happens in these types of cases is they cannot confirm right away 100%, like, we know the ID. They'll send the body away for identification, and then it takes a day or two to get 100% confirmation. So that might be the case in this particular case, but we will just have to wait and see what they have to say. But we will keep you updated, and tonight our thoughts, our prayers go out to Dylan and his family. Such a big piece of the puzzle that's finally, hopefully, closed in and bringing them a little bit of a closure, or at least some answers to the questions they have had for so long. I'm Nate Eaton reporting.